In Thebes, a king and queen receive a terrible prophecy. Their unborn son will kill his father and marry his mother. Terrified, they decide he must never grow up. To escape the prophecy, they hand the infant to a shepherd with orders to abandon him on a mountain, his ankles pierced and bound. They believe this will thwart the prophecy forever. But the shepherd, moved by pity, hands the infant to another shepherd who carries him to the king of Corinth. Childless, the royal couple adopts him as their own son. They name him Oedipus, swollen foot. Years later, now grown in Corinth, Oedipus hears a rumor he is not the king's true son. Troubled, he consults the oracle at Delphi to learn the truth about his origins. The oracle doesn't answer his question. Instead, she reveals something else. He will kill his father and marry his mother. Horrified, Oedipus swears never to return to Corinth to protect the people he believes are his parents. He leaves Corinth that very night, never looking back, convinced he is escaping his fate. He still doesn't know his true parents are not the ones he just left behind. On the road at a crossroads, Oedipus encounters a chariot driven by an old man accompanied by guards. The man contemptuously orders him to yield the way. The dispute turns violent. The guards attack. In the chaos, Oedipus defends himself and kills the old man and his guards, never learning who they were. He continues on his way, unaware of what he has just done. The man at the crossroads was Laius, king of Thebes, his true father. The prophecy has just been fulfilled. Without his knowledge, Oedipus arrives near Thebes, a city terrorized by a monster, the Sphinx, with the body of a lion and the face of a woman, who poses a riddle to every traveler and devours anyone who fails. The Sphinx poses her riddle: what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, and 3 in the evening? No one before him has ever solved it. Oedipus answers without hesitation: man. He crawls on 4 legs as an infant, walks on 2 as an adult, and leans on a cane, his 3rd leg, in old age. Defeated, the Sphinx throws herself from her rock and vanishes. Thebes is freed. Word spreads through the city: a stranger has just saved them. As a reward, Thebes offers him the crown of its recently murdered king and the hand of the queen, Jocasta. Oedipus becomes king of Thebes. He has just married his own mother without knowing it. Years pass. Oedipus and Jocasta have 4 children. Then a terrible plague strikes Thebes, devastating crops and population. The people beg their king to find a solution. Oedipus consults the oracle. The plague will only end once the killer of the former King Laius is found and punished. Oedipus publicly swears to see the investigation through to the end. Oedipus summons the blind prophet Tiresias, known for seeing what others cannot. Tiresias hesitates, refuses to speak, then finally reveals a truth the king refuses to accept: the killer is himself. Furious, Oedipus accuses Tiresias of lying and conspiracy, but rather than abandon the investigation, he pushes forward. Every witness he questions brings him, unknowingly, closer to his own identity. A messenger arrives from Corinth. The king Oedipus, believed to be his father, has died of old age. Relieved for a moment, believing the prophecy defeated, Oedipus then learns the truth. He was never their biological son. Piecing together the details: the abandoned infant, the pierced ankles, the crossroads, Jocasta understands the truth before he does. She begs him to stop the investigation. He refuses. The final witness, the old shepherd who once spared the infant, is found. Under Oedipus's pressure, he finally confesses everything. The infant abandoned on the mountain was indeed him. The truth crashes down on him all at once. He killed his father at the crossroads, married his mother on the throne. Jocasta, horrified, takes her own life. Oedipus blinds himself with the pins of her robe, a punishment he inflicts on himself. This is where the archetype of Oedipus was born. The man who, by trying with all his strength to escape his fate, built it himself. Decision after decision. Every choice he makes to escape the prophecy. Fleeing Corinth, defending himself at the crossroads, solving the riddle, marrying the queen, is precisely what fulfills it. It isn't blind fate that traps him. It's his own freedom to act. The myth of Oedipus poses a question as old as philosophy itself. Are we free, or simply carrying out a script already written? Oedipus never stopped choosing, and yet everything was already written. This isn't a lesson about blind fate. It's a lesson about the illusion of control. The harder we try to avoid one particular thing, the more that thing comes to occupy every decision we make until it becomes inevitable. This idea seems specific to Greek tragedy. It isn't. It plays out on a smaller scale in very real lives, yours perhaps. Think of a sailor facing a headwind. He doesn't choose the direction of the wind, but he chooses how to trim his sail. Sometimes, in trying desperately to avoid it, you sail straight into the storm you are trying to escape. Think of someone who categorically refuses to repeat a parent's mistake, and who, by organizing their entire life around avoiding it, ends up recreating in another form exactly what they were fleeing. In both cases, it isn't the obstacle that shapes fate. It's the obsession with avoiding it. True freedom may not mean escaping what we fear, but ceasing to let that fear direct every choice we make. So tell us, is there something in your life you avoid so fiercely that it has ended up steering everything in your place? Let us know in the comments. See you very soon on Pantheon for another journey into the myths that still speak